Hey, Mark Carney and you liberal freaks, fuck off with trying to police Canadian speech. I really don't give a rat's ass if you don't like or don't agree with what I'm saying. That's the reason that we have freedom of expression in this country. It's so that people who have opinions that you don't agree with are allowed to speak their mind. The Canadian government is attempting to ram through Bill C-63, the so-called Online Harms Act, which is more extreme than the so-called Online Safety Act that the UK has already passed, where they are now arresting 30 people a day, 12,000 people a year for so-called speech crimes. The Canadian government took a look at this legislation and said, oh, we can make it even more Orwellian. It's disgusting. Get the fuck out of our lives. We are free citizens, allowed to speak our mind, allowed to say whatever the hell we want. Of course, there are extreme limits to what you can say. You can't go into a movie theater and yell fire, but outside of that, you don't agree with the opinion. Look, you guys stick all these goddamn LGBTQ flags up all over the goddamn city. I don't agree with it. We're allowed to speak our goddamn minds. It's a pillar of Western civilization, freedom of expression. And these clowns, this creepy Mark Carney thinks that he is going to dictate to Canadian citizens what they are and are not allowed to say. Get the hell out of here. You're a goddamn joke. Before I get into it, if you're interested in subscribing, become a member, hit that join button. You'll help this Take Canada Back movement get off the ground, mold it from the ground up, get exclusive videos. Please hit like, subscribe, share the video if you're interested in supporting the cause. So the Canadian government is currently putting Bill C-63 back into committee. It would have been passed earlier, except the marshmallow Justin Trudeau had to prorogue government for 10 months while it was in committee because he was so incompetent. But now that they're returning in mid-September, Carney is going to table this absolute garbage bill again. Now, let me give you an idea of what the Canadian government is trying to organize. They're modern day thought police. They read 1984 and said, I don't think this is quite extreme enough for us. So what they're doing is they're trying to set up something they're calling a digital safety commission. Now that sounds pretty damn Orwellian. What absolute moron thought that name up? A digital safety commission which will feature 10 unelected bureaucrats and an ombudsman on this digital safety commission. Now, any Canadian citizen will be able to report another Canadian citizen, not for anything they've written online, not for anything they've said. So this is not even punishing people for things they have already written or already said. They can report you to these 10 unelected bureaucrats and an ombudsman if they believe you are likely to post something hateful in the future. I kid you not. You can be reported if you believe somebody is likely to say something hateful in the future. And can you only imagine the types of woke clowns that are going to be the unelected bureaucrats on this thing? So they can report you if they believe you're likely to say something hateful in the future. If these 10 unelected bureaucrats and ombudsmen deem it likely you are going to say something hateful in the future, get this, Canadians, you can be put under house arrest, given an ankle bracelet, and have any weapons you legally own be confiscated. I kid you not. For the crime of being likely to say something hateful in the future. Let that sink in for a second. Bill C-63. This is pre-crime come to life in Canada. The pillar of Western civilization, free speech along with sovereignty, under attack like never before by these far left virtue signaling clowns who believe you are an evil person if you don't agree with their perverse worldview. Now, also included in Bill C-63, the so-called Online Harms Act, is the expansion of potential lifetime imprisonment if you so-called incite to genocide. Lifetime imprisonment for so-called incitement to genocide. Now, any Canadian knows on our streets over the past 2 years, there's been plenty of vile speech on our streets, foreign flags on our streets every single day, shutting our civilization down. And I've heard a lot of vile hate speech, but I have a funny feeling that these are not the type of people that are going to be going after with this law. This is totally political. If you're in line ideologically with the Liberals, I'm absolutely certain you'll have carte blanche to say whatever the hell you want. Meanwhile, if you're critical of the government, they're going to try and throw you in prison for a long period of time. Lifetime imprisonment in Canada for so-called incitement to genocide. Also included in this wonderful bill is the expansion of hate speech to include so-called fomentation of detestation and vilification to emotions that are incredibly hard to quantify. Again, we want the goddamn government out of our lives. The idea is we, the people, are the owners of this country, and the government works for us. The Canadian government continues to inverse this relationship, belaying themselves more and more power. They now want the ability to throw you in prison for long prison terms if you so-called foment detestation and vilification. Knowing the Liberals, can you imagine the abuses of power this is going to bring on? Can you imagine the people that they are going to go after online? My God, you already see in the UK people being arrested for criticizing immigration. If you criticize immigration in Canada, if you criticize the free speech laws, if you criticize the fact that Mark Carney is governing on behalf of Brookfield Asset Management, if you criticize the LGBTQ flags being every 5 square meters in Ottawa, they're going to throw you in jail. This is not an exaggeration. This is exactly what they're trying to do. And worse than that, I think, even more nefarious than that potentially, is the fact that yes, they are going to throw people in prison for speech, but also the chilling effect that it's going to have. No, they're going to make a couple of high-profile arrests. We're already seeing this in the UK already, all over the place. Crazy story out of Glasgow. A well-known comedian was arrested for his tweets about 3 tweets regarding trans people. And regardless of whether you agree with it or not, the guy's allowed to have an opinion. They are literally arresting him, and the chilling effect that is going to have, because the vast majority of people, they have kids, they have a job that they need to stay in. They can't afford to get arrested. People can't afford to criticize the government, afford to arrest. So that's why they pass laws like this, so that people are straight up scared to say anything critical of the government. It's disgusting. It's anti-Western civilization. This is the pillar on which the greatest civilization ever created came up through, and now they're doing absolutely everything they can to destroy it. It's already in committee. Our government gets back in mid-September. September 15th is their first day back at work after fucking summer vacation. Mark Carney got in office and then took a long vacation and then got straight to work for Brookfield Asset Management in China. If you're interested in joining this movement to take our country back, rally Saturday, September 13th, Parliament Hill, noon. Shoot me a message if you're interested in attending. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe to this message. Say hell no to Bill C-63. If you're following on TikTok, make sure you're following on YouTube, youtube.com/@FightForCanada 2025. I'm now over 12K subs on TikTok, and the Canadian government is not a very big fan of dissidents. They really do absolutely everything they can to scare you out of posting, but I don't cower easily. Canadians, we need to stand up now. If they pass Bill C-63, the chilling effect it is going to have on our God-given right as Canadians to speak our free mind is going to be massive. The time for Canadian patriots to stand up against this tyranny is now.